Good morning, Max.
Hi, Sue.
We're here for Bohemian Rhapsody Magazine and ahead of Max's new book, Mighty Mary. Max,
Sue.
your early influence before embarking on this great endeavour of yours.
What inspired the book?
Yeah.
There was just this picture I saw of an elephant hanging from a railroad derrick by the neck.
Oh, okay.
I just thought that has to be the weirdest thing. It has to be America. It has to be the weirdest thing I've ever seen. So I sort of looked into what Mary was and found out she was this circus elephant, and it wasn't unusual for circus elephants to be executed when they lost their temper. And I remember when I was young seeing Tyke run amok in Honolulu.
Oh, yeah.
In Honolulu, and they shot him until he died. And I have an affinity for elephants, as with most animals, and but when I was little, where I grew up, there was a lot of paddocks and open space, and they used to set up this circus. I can't remember which circus it was, but they had 3 elephants, and I remember seeing 3 elephants chained to this one tree for days and days and days while this circus was in town, and I'd go and watch them swaying their heads and watch tears going down their faces and think that's not right.
No,
I'm so glad Ringling doesn't exist anymore.
No, I mean, we're all seeing the images of elephants and other animals being trophy hunted, which is just, I think to anyone that's got any heart and soul is heartbreaking.
Yeah, well, these things came from the wild. Even if they were born in captivity, they're wild animals. You can't breed that out of something. Colonialism is proof that you can't take someone's nature out of them.
No.
And you shouldn't try.
No. But it's all about us as humans having this superiority or feeling of superiority, that we have to have power over everything, that we've got something unique about ourselves.
Well, the Bible says, have dominion over all the animals that live upon the land and all the birds in the sky and fish in the sea, and from that day forward we've been destroying the earth. Thanks, Bible. It's wonderful how people can just bend the concept of God to suit whatever agenda they have, isn't it?
Well, it is. And
it's like John Landis said, how do you kill a vampire? And everybody said, steaks or silver or whatever, and he said, you can kill a vampire any way you like because vampires don't exist. Yeah, if you're basing your life on a fictional concept, you can be whatever you want. You can abuse it, whatever you never want.
Or is there some reason that you call the elephant Mary Parker?
All throughout. Well, it wasn't just about an elephant. It's dominating other creatures, other life forms, even if it's other people, is detrimental to us. It damages us psychologically, and we can see we can see that today, where we have this extremely arrogant ruling class, if you will. It's not an economic class; it's a social class, where one group has the biggest voice and the biggest presence, and you only need to listen to 3AW to see who that is. I'm not going to say it, but yeah, 3AW, something's consistent amongst all the DJs there, and that's indicative of how our social structures are built, and it's terribly damaging, and it's all about quieting everyone else down and controlling everybody else, including animals. So, if you're going to go on a story about an elephant that is mistreated by a circus and is forced and bent to people's will and to people's control, you might as well look at, the Raj in India, where Mary comes from, and here are people who probably would have had nothing to do with elephants other than living in a country with them, were it not for the British coming and
that's right, and
pillaging the land for all of its resources. Exploitation is the word we're not using. It's what it is. It's all about how we exploit.
I also liked the way that you brought the relationship with Mary and the horse, and that we see a lot of visions on the internet now of animals kind of being able to be friendly towards each other and having this friendship.
Yeah.
And I found that quite touching.
It's funny because we don't know what, some things are staged or faked or whatever, but I think it's stupid to assume that we're superior and we're told that animals don't feel emotions or they don't think or whatever, and we just go with it. Why do we listen to what people tell us? People are idiots.
No.
Yeah.
And we're finding new things, aren't we, about elephants, for example, that they do understand more than we realise, that they have got a brain that's, is it a convoluted brain or something?
It's definitely complex.
It's the largest brain. I think that in a land animal.
We have no idea, and it's because their interactions are so different from ours. It's like we don't understand some tribal Ethiopian people who spit on each other as a blessing. That's alien to us.
That's right.
So imagine what the social interactions of a lion would be, how different, how misconstrued it's like we can only sympathise for an animal if we see it being like us, and it's the same for people. If we see their culture like our own, then we're more comfortable with it.
Well, I'd certainly say that reading the book has made me look at elephants more closely as well, which I think
people need to look at everything differently.
Well,
everything.
Sometimes we can't, be informed of everything till we find out about it. But it certainly prompted me to look into the treatment of elephants. And one of the things that I saw was the calves and how they're strung up with ropes and to lose their break their spirit when they're very young.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty appalling. It's just another thing that to be ashamed of, isn't it, as a human being, that these things are going on. And for entertainment, of all things. But look at how we've exploited people. Look at Judy Garland and people like that. For entertainment. The complexity in building the characters. How do you go about? Do you sort of have an idea of the story? I studied acting for 3 years. I'm aware of that.
Yes. So I learned a lot about character from that at Melbourne Actors Lab, especially. There was a bit of, I did a little bit of theatre and things before then, but I was not particularly serious about acting, and I'm still not. But the time that I was at the Melbourne Actors Lab, I got very serious about it. And there was so much to learn about building character and about getting in there. So if there's good character, then it's all credit to them, really.
So the story is sort of really the basis, the crux of it, and building the characters into the story, or do you have an idea of the story and then the characters kind of come in?
It's great when you're doing historic. It's great when you're doing historical fiction, because there's a bit of work already done for you.
Okay.
So I mean, the only things I took from history were really the Sparks circus. So everyone else is made up. But if you're going to put a character in a world you've made, then they have to be layered and real. You have to spend time on them. Otherwise, what's the point?
So, what was your most enjoyable part about writing the book? What did you get out of it personally?
What's enjoyable about writing a book? I like working on characters. That's fun because it's practical. It's nice to actually move around and do things, and I'm not a big fan of sitting at a desk.
Right.
I don't like that.
So did you actually observe elephants a lot?
Yeah, well, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elephants, just animals in general, because they're all more complicated.
How did you observe the elephants? Here we get back to our own issues, really, because it's like zoos have got animals there for us.
Yeah, well...
And yet that's how we see them and learn about them. And did you go to the zoo?
I watched a lot of footage.
You watched a lot of footage, yeah.
Tried to figure out why they would do certain things that they do. But it's the little things, like I saw a documentary where a calf died and the mother wouldn't leave it.
Right.
I said, okay, that says a lot. That says a lot about them.
I also read about this must. It's like a process that the males mainly go through with. It's like a shot of testosterone that actually can lead them to males killing each other. Yeah,
I think we have that. we certainly have that then.
And it's debatable whether the female actually has that as well. Whether the female
they're obviously
can be
very,
attracted by that.
very paternal animals. So if you threaten them, or if you threaten their young, they're going to kill you, which is what humans do as well, understandably so. You know.
And you've got also that element of, like snapped. That elephant literally snapped.
Well, she did.
Yeah.
She did.
People do.
People do, yeah.
So there's a lot of us in them.
Yeah, people snap. And elephants seem to snap more frequently than people. Yeah, you get someone, a process worker or a postal worker who turns up and shoots everybody. I wonder if it's. I wonder what the frequency is. I mean, if anybody actually did any research into how many, the ratio of postal workers who continue working compared to the one who turns up and kills their colleagues, compared to the per capita elephant snapping in circuses and things.
And this is the problem, isn't it? That the elephants haven't got the guns to fight back. One of the things that I actually is that the elephants, have actually been shot from the air as well. So they're just being fired upon with guns and machine guns or whatever from the air. So what hope of that?
Back then they didn't have the kind of guns that you really needed to bring down an elephant. So
no.
And they did, but they were stupid big and people didn't really have them lying around. So. Mary is a woman in an unfortunate time who's going to be brutalised and taken advantage of by a domineering figure.